ones. Walt Summers sells the softer ones, and so do some other sellers. The original ones that first came out 10, 12 years ago, or actually much further back than that, they were pretty hard. And that was fine because back then people were more interested in displaying the machines rather than playing them. But now that we do play these machines a lot, we want the softest possible rubber in there. Technically, this should be very soft natural rubber. What we have to work with is soft. It's not perfect, but it's a heck of a lot better than what we did have. And it's 1,000 times better than this rock hard ring that's in there now. What you would do is put some Elmer's glue, just simple white Elmer's glue, hide glue, in there to seal it. Stick it back in there, lining up that little nub there with the top screw, top set screw. Set it aside and let it dry, and then when it does, you put the set screws back. And you're all done with that. I won't get into rebuilding the whole thing now. That's more than I could really cover in a video at the moment, but that's part of what you do. And you put it all back together, and then you would gently close your lid. You see your lid stay. That's your lid stay right there swinging. The little nub on the lid stay needs to go in. Let's see if I can do this one-handed with the camera. Let's see. It needs to go right in that slot. See how it went in? And then you move it back and you close it. That's it. Then you're on the stay. And you close it normally. Don't know what yet is going to happen with this particular machine. You know, it does have some pretty severe damage on the back. Not horrible, but I mean, this obviously would be made to play very nicely, but what happened back here was they took away wood and they replaced it with, I don't know what that is, a piece they carved out of an old piece, pine 2x4 probably. Then they nailed it in place. You'd have to replace most of this back panel to repair that. There's even damage here on the lid itself. I think they glued that back in. No matter what you do back here, you're going to have to do a full refinish on it. Generally, I don't do that. I don't like to do a full refinish on anything. I repair, I replace parts, I clean. I do not refinish antiques. That I leave to those that are better equipped to handle it. But I will use this for parts, if nothing else, or I just might make a machine that plays records and use it for that, testing records or something, because the rest of it looks pretty good. You know, it's not horrible, a little alligator in here, but that's normal for a 1920s finish. The shellac. Now, I don't think the bottom is too bad on this either, which is a real shame. Yeah, the bottom is clean, actually. If it wasn't for that back damage, this would be a really nice machine. Unless you didn't care and just faced it to the wall and didn't look back here. Because I'm pretty sure I could reattach some form of, I wouldn't use those screws they used, but some form of hinge back here and get it to stay. Probably have to epoxy back there a bit. Not the worst repair back there I've seen. I've seen a lot worse than that. And I've seen unrepaired damage too. Generally, these 1922 machines with the half wood horn have more stability and more strength back here because of the horn is in there and it's giving it more strength. If this was a 1921 with this damage, this whole panel we broke off probably down to here. Completely broke off, and sometimes they screw it, glue it, use horseshoe nails or whatever to pound it back in there and hold it together. Not a pretty sight when you see it, and I try to avoid those machines unless they're selling cheap enough that I would buy them for parts. You know, if somebody wanted to restore one, that's great. I don't do that. I leave that, you know, I tend to leave that alone and leave it to those who like doing that kind of thing. But there you go. That covers the basics.